Let's go now to make order in the hierarchy and the collections. We rename the trapdoor, then we rename the nails, although at this point it's better to join them, so Ctrl J. Having said that, we have trapdoors and nails that are going into a new collection that we will call furniture, and we put them in. Then we rename this cylinder that corresponds to the mouth of the cistern. Once we've done that, we are going to make, to complete the mouth of the cistern, the grating that was supposed to cover the wall opening. We go to hide what we don't need from our view and create a cylinder with Shift A. We hide the trapdoors and the nails. Now we can position ourselves in the top view and realize that we need a larger diameter with S. However, we also need it scaled along the z-axis, so SZ, and we shift it along the height, then the z-axis, placing it exactly with the snap at the vertices on the cylinder. Let's scale it a little more and reduce it in its thickness. So G, Z, Ctrl. Once we have taken the measurement, let's hide the wall as we no longer need it. This will be our grating. We first start with an inset face, select the face, I, 0.2 or better 0.1. Now we delete the created face. Equally, we create a face in the part below, so I, 0.1, and delete it. In this way, we have created the perimeter of the grid, which we are going to close it by selecting Edge Mode, Option, and then we select the remaining ones, and with Shift the ones below. Right-click, Bridge Edge Loops. Let's now go on to create the inner grid through more cylinders. We return to Object Mode and add with Shift A another cylinder. Once created, we first move it along the z-axis. Then rotate it along the y-axis with 19 degrees, then R19. At this point, we scale it to make it a smaller tube, scale it again, and move it by putting it inside the view along the z-axis, and move it by putting in the side view along the z-axis, so that we can make it fit exactly into our grid. We reduce it along the z-axis in thickness and stretch it along the x-axis until we get it exactly in the center of our grid. We can also make it a little more spherical, so as y. In the top view, we visualize the grid more clearly. Now we can duplicate with Shift D and we move along the y-axis at this distance here. We select both so that we have the other cylinders equidistant and duplicate them with the Shift D along the y-axis. Now we have to scale it along the x-axis, so Sx, until the cylinder fully enters in our circumference. Having done this, we select everything and with Ctrl J we join them, because at this point a modifier takes over. We go to the modifiers section and activate mirror along the x-axis. Let's remember to place the center in the last axis, so Ctrl J. Let's reactivate the mirror along the y-axis. At this point we have obtained the first part of the grid. Now, with Shift D, we duplicate it and then rotate it with the RZ19 along the z-axis. In this way we have obtained our grid. Since it is a little beveled at the edges, we can make more beveled edges with bevel. Now let's reactivate all the objects. Let's first join all these elements with Ctrl J. Sorry, I forgot to apply the mirror modifier. Let's reactivate all the objects and try embeveling our grid. Once we have finished the little wall and the trapdoor, which we are going to join with Ctrl J, we place ourselves in the side view, G, Z. With the snap, we place it here and we can also move it along the x-axis. Now we can make the entrance to the tower, which should not have been at the bottom since it was originally supposed to be located on the second floor of the tower, and it was probably accessed by a rung ladder. Next, we will see how the tower was reached, which is through the presence of a bridge. Now we can create the compartment through the Boolean modifier. With Shift A, we therefore create a cube to which I call the dimension of 2 meters in height, but even more, perhaps we can make it 2.3 meters per side. At this point, with GZ, we place ourselves in the side view, G, Z, Control. And then we move it along the x-axis, so G, X. We stretch it in such a way as to make sure that we create a cut inside the body of the second floor of the tower. Now we select the second floor, add modifier, Boolean, and with the pipe we select our object. We will momentarily disable this cube, and as we can see, it has created a compartment. So we apply our modifier, and in vertex mode we can join our edges. Now we have obtained, therefore, the main entrance compartment of the tower.